tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her
Stonks are about to open. If you guys were here last night or you're paying attention to the news, there was a nuclear power plant that was under attack in Ukraine. And the S&P kind of nuked, unironically, that it was a nuclear power plant. I'm not sure how that news developed, but it looks like the S&P recovered like 50%, but there's going to be a big gap today when the markets open. I've been eyeing this level for a while, this big green line, and we're about at it. We haven't exactly touched it yet. So my plan is, if SPX opens, it's gonna look like trash. Bitcoin might just take a quick dump, and I'm gonna try to catch it. If it doesn't bounce with a good enough of good amount of momentum, I'm just gonna try to get out and get in lower, because I'm afraid SPX might keep going. But usually I see these things as like every on open it'll dump as far as stocks and then like recover right away. So we've got 1 minute. So I keep this chart open at all times. This is the SPX correlation. Sam actually helped me set this up, but you can see the contract correlate with Bitcoin. If you want to stop getting lick, we have a wonderful tool on Tealstreet called Risk Profile, where ahead of time, before you even enter a trade, it tells you your full losses expected. That's a good way to stop getting liquidated. I've sized down quite a bit from using this tool since we added it. Not to turn into an ad, but like I was getting liquidated all the time. So it was like part of the reason I made this. Yeah, Darren, we'll just walk through this one particular trade. So I'm not in a position. I have resting orders to buy, and I have a stop. And I'm on risk profile, and there's two modes. And there's a video. It's risk profile, yeah. So I'll just go through this one example on the screen. There's two modes. Oop. I'm gonna get rid of this stop to make it less complicated. Dynamic mode means it calculates your P&L based on last price, and since there's no position open, dynamic mode is the only mode that could be used. And static mode shows your P&L based on your entry. So it's just two ways of looking at your P&L. So all it tells you in spread is one of the tabs down at the risk profile. All it tells you is what happens in theory and based on the math. What happens to your P&L and your balance if price goes up from the diamond, this gray line, and if price goes down. So there's nothing going to happen if price goes up because I don't have any orders up. I don't have anything up here, but going down, price will go and hit my first entry with the down arrow, 46.77. I will have a new long. The order size was 9,000. It made me a position size of 9,000. I will have about 2x leverage, and my entry will be 46.77 because that's the first order. And then it continues to do the math all the way to your stop. The second entry, you'll have an 18K position. The third, you'll have a 27, all the way down to the last fill at 40,067. Right down here, you'll have an 81,000 Bitcoin position size. Your average entry will be 40,000 467, which is right about here on the chart. And you'll be pretty much max leverage, and your P&L unrealized at this point because you filled all the way down. You'll have an $800 unrealized P&L. And you can see how much that'll draw down your balance. So delta means the change. And sigma means the total. It's just we didn't have room, but if you hover the titles, it says what these things are. So we use the math symbols because there's just no room. So the cumulative change, or the change from this specific event on my balance, this last fill, is a 6.99% loss on my margin, because my margin's getting, even though it's the same size order, my margin's getting worse and smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes down. So as I get more fills of the same size, it's affecting my margin more. And then here you can see it's a total cumulative percentage loss on my margin of 18%. So all it means is, like, if price goes from here, boop, down to here, boop, exactly. And it's sitting right here at 40,067, resting at 40,067. I will have a 81K position, average entry 40,467, with an unrealized P&L sitting in my positions table of $823. And then there's a simpler version called moves, which kind of just projects, once you have a position open, what your P&L would be at a 1% move, a 2% move, how far into a trade you are, 1% up, 1% down. Because there's a lot of people in chat who like to trade percent moves, so we added that in there. But this does not take into account orders, resting orders. This does take into account resting orders, but you could also see the percent moves here. Like from last price to my first bid is a 1.2% move. And obviously, like, since this is live, you could fiddle when it updates. Oh yeah, Viador too. We're gonna add it so you could customize it if you want to trade like 0.5%, 0.9% moves. It's just like we kind of threw this together to see what people get feedback and see what people thought. So there'll be like a slider, like you want to trade 1%, 2%. Thought about making, yeah, Martha. That's like a total. It's a kind of not a problem. It's kind of a thing we want to do all over Tealstreet. So like, when we edit for the risk profile, you're going to be able to do that everywhere. Like you could hide your P&L column down at the orders or positions. I'm sorry. Or you could hide any of these. So try to do it all at once. Yeah, it is so big. I'll just say, you can see mine's even cut off. The bulk of what you need to be looking at actively is like just before the margin column, in my opinion. At least what I look at actively. Anything over here is like, you just kind of you know, it's good to look at, but you only need to look at it like once or twice. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff jammed in here. And there's a whole video on it. And there's an epic intro from Lat043 in chat. In fact, I like it so much, I want to watch it again. Yep, you could trade on FTX through Tealstreet. I used to trade FTX exclusively.
Is much like being the captain of a large merchant ship in the golden age of piracy. Transporting your wares, you experience many obstacles on your journey from Port Felixstowe to Port Royal. The chop of the waves, the rocks, the wake of larger ships, pirates, whales, and storms. Risk Profile won't tell you how to steer your ship, but it will tell you what will happen at the rocks and when you get to port. Ahoy! Storm ahead! How the hell are you going to get out of this one? You're the salty old captain. You decide how to safely get you and your coins home. Essentially, Your risk is the only thing within your control when trading. Adding risk when it is at a good entry or asymmetric, and removing risk when you're unsure or volatile.
Thank you, Lat, for the introduction. Yeah, we've upped the quality. How about you? Also, I can't get enough of these pirate songs. I had to literally turn my headphones down because I was getting distracted by how fire they were. Oh, here we go. Stonks. Taking a poo. This is like that GTA meme. Every time I like lever in really hard in the beginning, I just think of that GTA meme where it's just like, oh shit, here we go again. Here's another one. Doing it again. Bitcoin's not really, one, stranger enough, it's not super high volume. Two, it's not really dumping as hard as stocks are right now. Wait, I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna not open my developer tools. Ton. If you go to the gear and there's anything you don't use, go to visibility and turn it off. It actually doesn't hide it. It actually does turn it off to like save your resources. So there's a couple elements I don't use and I just hide because I don't want to waste resources. See my tennis balls on the chart. Those are my orders as they're getting fed into the top of the order book. They're getting fed pretty fast now. Like a tennis court. Okay, that wicked pretty fast. I'm long. Just took off a tick. I took off an order. Stock's still going. Let me drag this down. I've got tablets that I keep open at all times, and I try to zero in on the cause of something. And right now, all I'm looking at is SPX, just waiting for SPX to do some sort of reversal. My stop's not a real stop. It's my blackout stop. If I black out at the computer from stress. I mean, it sounds silly, but like, that's why you should always keep a stop open just in case, like, your house catches on fire, or you black out the computer, or you have to literally just stop trading for some reason. Yeah, the hospital. Because it would suck, right? You have to go to the hospital and you lost all your money in your portfolio because you didn't have a stop even though you weren't going to use one. So it's like you come out of a coma, you're like, how'd my trade go? And they're like, sir, you're liquidated. And then you black out again. Yes, and die, Peter. That would be the nail in the coffin. I'm kicking a little more back on. I cut some, just tack some back on here. I'm like seeing on Binance Spot that nobody really seems to be giving a shit about any of this. There's no volume, nobody's like trading it. I'll tell you, it is great to have charts open and visible without clicking between them to catch things. And I'll give you a walkthrough, especially because this might turn into a YouTube video, because Lat's been sneaking my streams as YouTube videos now. I'll explain the charts I keep open at all times and why. Alright, here's my setup. This is a standing desk. It actually goes up and down. I'm standing right now. I usually do in the morning. Things I keep open at all times to affect my bias. I'll try to give like how much weight I give these things to my bias. So this is Bookmap. I don't really give it very much weight actually when trading. It gives a heat map of the order blocks. I like it for the sound that you hear when I'm streaming where it says buy 10 and it tells me somebody market bought 10 Bitcoin on Binance Spot. These are the funding rates. I kind of look and see what the degens, what side they're on. This is my main chart with the levels up at the top. This chart I rely on a ton. So, okay, funding, I actually give more weight than order blocks. The levels I give the most weight to. Probably about 40% of my bias is technical, because Bitcoin responds very well to technical. This was a weekly level. It's still like holding as a reaction. This I give a ton of weight to. I love this chart. I love this screen. It's a grocery store advertising display. It's 1920 by 360. I keep a 5-minute chart on it for Binance Spot only. No indicators. I don't like any indicators cluttering these screens. And I mainly look at it for volume deltas. So I can say something. I look for intent in volume, and I talk about this. And I've done a whole stream where I've traded on volume. But if you zoom out on a 5-minute chart, I call this bursting. And this is price being forced, not by a group of people, but usually by individuals. And I kind of look for signs of bursting. And then I see what side the bursting is on. So this is sell bursting. And it's continual sell bursting. So this is being pushed down repeatedly. And I look for volume tapering up, down. It's probably a majority of my bias is this 5-minute chart and volume changes on the 5-minute chart mainly. All right, upper left. I have the correlation. I have BTCD on the daily. I have SPX on the daily. And Bitcoin itself on the daily. I like to have a zoomed out view at all times. I think I'm going to add a little more in here. I'm going to ape it. I don't care about the fees right now. So, okay, first I've got daily charts. Bitcoin, BTCD, and SPX because of the correlation. I have aggregate trade. I look for liquidation bursts. I look for CVD changes recently. That's something I've just added to my bias. And I look for algorithmic trading, which means the price is usually a lot less jagged and it's a lot more smooth because humans are random and computers are pretty linear as far as their movements. So you can kind of see when the market's being T-wapped or V-wapped and forced in a certain direction. There's patterns that kind of emerge. All right, so this is all SPX correlations. On this chart, you just saw this one. It's Bitcoin hourly, SPX hourlies, and ETH hourly. And then this is all open interest. And those are the charts I keep open for my bias. Yes, it does, teabag. Two, three, four, five.
From France we get the brandy, from Martinique the rum. Sweet red Cabernet from Italy does come, but the fairest of them all, me boys.
So we've almost got a Bitcoin size long here on a pretty small balance. We're heading on to 10x.
So follow me, lads, 'cause this ain't no grog or ale.
Long on the wicks, where you kind of want to be.
5 pints, buddy, you'll be shaking in your shoes. We're half seas.
Come on, baby. Papa needs this one. 10x cooking.
She's called the Dreadnought Spider. She's proper and she's fine. And when the
The
day is
pirate music in my head.
I wish that she were mine. Or in the dark.
Oh, I need the storm sounds. Oh my god, there's a new video. There's a new video. Pirate creaking. I'm looking for a full rejection here, Lucardi. I'm looking for this bottoming, actually. Like being a bottom for a month. This is a big level, and then we're almost at a 10%. We're at a, okay. I say this all the time. 10% moves are very important to watch 10% moves. They either bounce dramatically and swing away, or they break down dramatically beyond them. So from the top down, we're at about a 10% move, a 10.5% move. So this is like a make it or break it asymmetric risk point. It is, I'm willing to bet A, it bounces big, or B, it dumps big. So obviously you don't bet that it dumps big at a bottom, but it's very asymmetric and obvious that we've got a weekly level here. 10% down, stocks bouncing, all sorts of good things going up. This is one of the most obvious levels on the chart. I expect most traders to have this level within this 2% range in some way. Not here exactly because you can't predict, but you can kind of heat map where levels might be. It's really what you want to think is like, market makers sometimes paint the chart to reflect something, and retail traders trade the chart based on what's painted. And you want to think like all at once, like you are some oracle. You want to look at the chart and manifest hundreds of thousands of traders and think where they might put their levels. And then you buy below their levels, you buy their stops, you think this is, wow, this one has a lot of points that somebody could draw a line. This must be a strong one, you know? This is held up. People are going to notice this. The glaring ones on the chart are the ones you bet big on. I mean, the only things that can stop, not the only thing, there's tons of things that can make this not be a bounce, but news is going to be a huge factor in this trade not being successful, and stocks be a huge factor in this trade not being successful. We're going to throw some more size on here. Okay, so volume is looking pretty good. It looked like buy volume was tapering off, but it's, I think, just picking up actually. So like, I did think about this as I was longing on the way down. These are points I shouldn't have been buying as hard before this level. I should have waited, but I was kind of impatient. But like, these are kind of usually good bets, where they don't have to work out every single time for it to be profitable. They just have to work out every once in a while. Like buying a big weekly level probably only has to work out like 1 in 5 times. For you to get your money back, I guess. So like if you have a day job and it's hard for you to trade, you would want to be looking for big points like this. Like try not to make a trade every day, but like put your bids somewhere that would be a strong bounce and wait days for it, you know, be patient. Because managing it, you're just going to keep getting stopped out if you can't manage trades 24/7. Yeah. KO ho ho. That's an example of like market makers painting too. At least I like to think so. Because you know, people know how to move the price. They have tools to move price. They have teams to move the market. But the monthly chart, this is the prior monthly February candle. In the morning, this was a red candle, and it closed a huge green candle. The monthly perspective just completely changed within a day. If this was red closing, this would look way different chart than if it closed hugely green like it did by the end of the day. It's insane. Like, and it was very obvious bullshit. Like, it just kept going. Pure manipulation. Just when it just goes like that, it's just someone's like, I'm painting a bullish chart. Hello, I'm painting a bullish chart. We're going to go up. Look, see? Look back. Look. The monthly says we're going to go up. Look at this pattern. Red, 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 green, 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 bullish. Red, 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 green. What? What would you expect if you were a retail trader? Going up? You would expect that. Like, that's the idea that's trying to be put across. And anybody, if they can move price, but they can't make the market exactly what they want, they have to put the idea in traders' heads and use them as fuel and push them and then break resistances at key points and shit. Alright, stocks are retracing a little bit. Like, they want you to get price up here. They want you to get price up here to resistance, and then they will force it through. They want to use your stops, the sellers up here. They want to use your stops. They want to use the people longing. If you don't think there's like 5D chess going on, I mean, there's 5D chess going on. And they're also not going to save the market too. Like, they're not going to risk their money to save the market if there's like a news event or something. So it's like you're kind of, what you're doing is like they're Moby Dick and you're kind of chasing them. Can we admire the setup again? Oh, I have a video of it going up and down. So. Hold on, let me kind of just watch this for 1 second. SPX kind of went down, retraced up, and now it's back down again. Now it's kind of bouncing up a little. Yeah, dude, meta, if you, that's why I keep part of the reason why I keep a 5-minute chart and volume open. Because the volume on the 5-minute is a really great indicator of whether this was kind of a bullshit pump candle that will get retraced, or if it was like actual solid volume and footing pushing the price. Alright, I'm gonna try to sneak this in and not get fucked. Ready? They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of them in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job. Cause wherever you go around the world, you'll find an Irish pub. Now that design is fairly simple, and it usually works the same. You'll have Razor Houghton scoring in the Ireland-England game, and you'll know you're in an Irish pub the minute you're in the door. For a couple of yeah, I had to upgrade the table. It's somewhere it's 535 pounds. Glass isn't really that clean, it's just glass though.
Now the owner is Norwegian and the manager comes from Cork, and the lad that's holding up the bar says only just work. He was born and
The back of these monitors, okay, this looks great on the front. But the back of these monitors is like all zip ties and like duct tape. Just wires, zip ties, duct tape, clamps, mounts, zip tied, like power strips, cords everywhere. It's pretty bad. I mean, I'm trying to brag. Really, I thought this out. The desk is on caster wheels, so I can unlock the wheels and pull the desk forward to go behind it and like work on the wires and shit. So like I don't have to like fucking shove the desk around the room and take things apart to work on them. 'Cause this whole thing is like a finely tuned like automobile. I tend to stand like in the morning, usually up until like 4 p.m. and then usually I notice I'll sit for the rest of the day. Like I'm standing right now. I like standing when trading. Sam is the one who inspired me to stand and trade. He stands all day. He doesn't even have a desk that would be able to go down. He just stands, and you're much more ready to like fight and shit when you're standing than sitting. Like you feel a lot less vulnerable. So like when trading, I feel a lot more like ready to go, more active, like ready to react kind of thing.
My mother told me someday I will buy galley with good doors, sail to distant shore.
I don't think there's much difference between mentally wise, not physically wise, but like between combat and trading. I mean, it's like a very active thing where you're kind of getting attacked from all sides constantly, and you need to be able to react. Speaking of, I'm just gonna take off a chunk here at entry. Alright, stocks are running their own wick. Oh yeah, pirate ship creaking. Alright, so SPX is heading towards potential bounce point. Kind of scooped up that bid there. Let's take it right back off for a little meager profit. I'm seeing some correlation, some good bounce confluence between SPX and Bitcoin. They're at points in which either it's make it or break it. Bitcoin, in my opinion, could see this from going from a 10% to a 20% downside if this doesn't hold. I'm going to be starting to actively think about getting into shorts again for a while. But right now this is a long until this level breaks. And when you're trading fast, you don't want to think very much. You know, at least you don't want to think about the things you don't have to think about. You want it to be unconscious, just like you are fighting with instinct. And not having to think about moving your fist and going into someone's face. You want it to be instinct. You want to block your face instantly. So that's why I trade with a regular size. So I don't have to think. I'm always trading with order sizes of 1 or 2x my margin balance, so I know every time I put on a chart or I put on an order, it's going to be like a 2x add or a 2x reduce. So that's like the great thing with kind of Tealstreet is you can have this ammunition ready where you can place orders with the hotkeys, and you know you're taking off 2x, you're putting on 2x. Good way to manage high leverage, which is something you have to very actively manage. Pretty much anything over 10x, you kind of got to be babysitting. And unless it's a trending market, which we're not in a trending market right now. At least on a larger time frame, like a weekly. Yeah, What Lucardi is saying is, yeah, you need a lot of screens. We need a lot of exposure. I say this story. I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again because I like it so much. It was from the book Atomic Habits. And there's this woman, and she is a paramedic. And she went to a family gathering, not for work, obviously. And she sees her father-in-law and says, "Holy crap, you look like hell." And he, jokingly, like, bites back and just like, "Yeah, you don't look so good yourself." She goes, "No, really, you look horrible. You need to go to the hospital." And he goes to the hospital, and this is a true story. He was hours away from basically death. And she recognized the subtle signs in the face of a blood clot forming because she had seen so many people in ambulances that she was able to subconsciously, without understanding why, and have an intuition of what it looks like when somebody's in distress, having a blood clot, potentially on the verge of death. So, how'd she do that? Over the course of her career, she had seen so many people in that situation that her brain developed a pattern and recognized the pattern and gave up a flag. And she was able to save her father-in-law because of that. So like you could do the same thing with charts. If you have charts open at all times, your brain is really good at solving problems. It doesn't recognize things just like very consciously and like exactly. It just says threats, rewards, right? And it wants to incentivize preventing threats and giving you rewards and getting rewards. So it's going to be subconsciously solving these problems for you, and you'll gain like an intuition. That's why it's good to have the market exposure. Oh, that's a good wick. Bybit is insane with those wicks. I haven't traded on Bybit in a long time. Alright, so we broke below the level. 43.62 is the price at the bottom of the candle. Ran the stops, as you can see. Dude, it is so... I didn't realize till now. It's so good on Bybit to see when the stops are run. Because it's so aggressive. It makes it like super clear, whereas like FTX, you can't really see the stops getting run because their liquidation engine is... And their engine is so wishy-washy. Axel, I think it's bounce here another 10% down. I'm gonna take off a little bit. You guys hear the creaking ship? Hold on, test. The music too loud? Yeah, Hells, I do the same thing. The intuition is often right, but you're too afraid to trade it. Just, I started trading in March of 2020, and I still have not been able to recreate these 2 glorious months in which I hit all the shorts, all the longs on big swings. And I've never been able to recreate it. At least to like such a perfect sense almost. I just grew my balance insanely. And I just felt it. Like, I felt like this was a top. Even if everyone else was saying it wasn't. It was a huge... I was hitting huge swing tops and huge swing bottoms. And on full size. And I've never been able to recreate it since. And this is not a trending market, too. That's part of it. I'm good at trending markets. I'm not good at chop, at sideways markets. I'm not good at down trending markets even, really. I'm good at really identifying huge pumps and when they'll sell off to other pumps. Because that's how I started. I started in March of 2020. So that's what I saw in the beginning. So my history pattern catalog in my brain is the beginning of March 2020, where it was very bullish and selling off and bullish and selling off. So I have the most exposure to that type of market. But over time, as long as you survive, you keep getting exposure to different conditions. I feel like I've traded maybe like 4 different markets, quote unquote, in the last year. I feel like it's been 4 different strategies, right? Alright, let's check back on the New York Open. Go on a lower time frame, like 15 minutes. See, we've got a sell-off, a bounce, a sell-off, a micro bounce on the 15-minute. The S&P. This will be a great place to bounce. For my position and the market. Above water for now. Where's Aru? I would love Viador. We've talked about it, having a prop desk. I'm a good coder. I'm a good designer. But I'm an okay trader. I'm profitable over the course of my career. I've got a lot of bullets left before being not profitable anymore. But I want to trade. That's what I want to do. Ultimately, I want to spend most of my day focusing on trading. And there's people from chat who are good traders, people who want to bring money in and trade as a group. I think it'd be fun. I will code that. Like, there's nothing like more challenging and for me that I think I could do than trading. It's like one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It's insane. If you're struggling, it's because it is insanely hard to trade. It is insanely hard. You are fighting everything, but that's why it's also so like dopamine fueling and rewarding. Like it's not like glamorous. It's not like rewarding like I'm saving children in Rwanda, but it's your brain is loving it and you're getting a high off of it. We had Tradeboy Cardi, or Sam had Tradeboy Cardi on an interview once, and he said that it's actually, for them, if like most of their traders are on the same side, then it's usually correct trade. And obviously though, if it's not correct, then it's pretty bad for the whole firm. But I mean, it's insane like the state you have to put yourself in to trade successfully. Like these firms are, what is happening? What is this order flow? What is happening? Agger just freaked out. Is it just me? Is my Agger messed up? No, it's like pumping. Like buy orders. But it's like not going anywhere, they're just washing. Is that my Agger trade? Because there's so many orders coming through. It's not like the chart's going crazy, it's just... I forgot what I was saying. Oh, a trading firm. You think of all the resources they give these people to be successful. It's like, you either have to replicate it or don't try trading. You need to... They have gyms, they have cooks, they have outside to go, like places to go outside and relax. They have open, bright spaces and windows, the best technology. They have a risk manager. They have a trade floor manager. All of these things are the people who are taking your money, and they're putting everything in their favor. So you need to be putting everything in your favor when you're trading. I try to exercise once a day. I try to at least go outside once a day. I try to take a break from the computer. It all helps to just these min-max moves to trade slightly better, ticks better, eat healthy, standing desk versus sitting desk. Like all this shit is just so important, and your counterparty is doing it. The people who are winning on the other side of your trades are usually the institutions, and they have risk managers managing their risk for them. They're limited to their trading account balances to the point that all they have to do is trade, but you have to be your risk manager, you have to be your trade floor manager, you have to be your account balancer, balance manager. So that's why we're developing tools to kind of look at that shit for you, because you need to do it. So like, what's my risk? I see it on the table. What's my potential loss? Like, you don't have someone over your shoulder watching you and pulling the cord on your positions. And especially when you're so deep in your head in a trade, in a bad trade especially, even a good trade, actually. You're just so deep in your head with either euphoria or coping. It is so hard to make the correct choice of cutting a trade or taking profit. And the thing I like about this is I haven't traded differently, but in my back of my mind, I see how bad it will get if the trade gets to a certain point. Like, I see this line at the bottom, and I see if I let it get down to this line on the bottom, I'm going to be down $2,000. And that's in the back of my mind. And I've been cutting much earlier. I mean, sizing up because this balance I'm trying to multiply. I'm sizing up and risking it on, but I'm back in my mind is the haunting reality of I'm going to blow up if I really don't manage this high leverage position properly. And you don't see the hindsight ever. You usually just see your negative P&L and your balance. Yep, the shortcuts follow exactly what is on this panel. So if I had reduce only tabbed, I've got this bound to my R key to reduce. So I got post is bound to Q, or track just tracks the price. It doesn't actually help this, but it just takes the price at the top of the book and then follows your post and reduce only toggles. Like let me just, I'll show you. I'll go to R and I'll go to buy, I'll go to buy and I'll do a, see, I can't reduce same side, and I'm using the shortcut here. And that goes same for the chart trading. When you go to trade on the chart, it follows exactly what's in the place order box. If I go to buy, see from the chart, limit buy, blah, 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 reduce. So I gotta be careful with stops because you gotta make sure you're set to whatever trigger you want and make sure you're set to close on trigger when you place orders for stops on the chart. There's shortcut to null so I don't accidentally type well. Turn post up. I don't know. I've done it. I've typed in here. I just kind of blame myself. I don't want to not be able to use a shortcut when I want to if it's turned off is what I'm saying. So maybe disable the key, put it to a key that you don't want to use. I think I could still trade faster like this without a stream deck. Like I can still place like buy orders based on the chart like fairly easily and cancel them. It's like a video game. Did I accidentally just sell some? Out of this game. I think this might be the mouse. I mean, just like if you play Counter-Strike, set your WASD keys to trade with. That's how mine are set up. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. Also, if you don't think getting better fills over time will help you, trust me, it will. Because if you're trying to sit here and you're trying to look and say what price, you're going 47.80, and then you go hit buy, but that already takes like 2 or 3 seconds when somebody on Tealstreet already front ran you by doing that. And not only people on Tealstreet, but people with the algorithmic trading bots that are front running you, getting better fills than you. Amazing all the different ideas people have. And they're like just so different.
Cell 48.22.
That was a lot. Donks not looking great. We're near full size right now, which I maxed this account out to 20x. Super JP. I read a lot of philosophy, and it's just like, it's gone. What can I do about it? It's gone. If I rest on it, it's going to affect my trading from here on out. There's a great video I always play. Somebody asks about trading losses. And this is like a pendant in Stoic philosophy. And one of my favorite shows. It's a kid show, but like it's got so much good stuff in it.
Beep, beep, pillow delivery, beep, beep. Look out, buddy.
Ugh. Ugh. Come on, Jake.
Sorry, buddy. I'm just trying to cheer you up some. I mean, here you are chilling with history's coolest friends, building an actual pillow fort, but you just sit there sulking. I'm like, what gives?
I guess I'm just thinking about Flame Princess. I told her a joke the other day, and she didn't even laugh or anything. Guess it's over between us.
That's it? A joke?
Maybe she just didn't get it yet.
Yeah, right, BMO. More like she used up all her laughs in some other guy's jokes, probably. Man.
Alright, this is the point of advice. This is coming up.
Having a girlfriend is hard.
No, being crazy is hard. You're getting all hung up on imaginary problems. You gotta focus on what's real, man. You see this cup? This is literally my favorite cup. Huh. Now it's gone forever, so it's not real, and I don't care about it anymore.
Oh no, my favorite window!
I don't even know what.
See? This is my favorite cup, and now it's gone forever, and I don't care about it anymore. This is what my balance was, and now it's gone forever, and I don't care about it anymore. Thinking about it's not going to bring it back. Only focusing on what's real right now, how you're trading right now with the only money you have available to trade with is how you're going to get ahead. I don't look at the DXY chart. That's just personal. I've never really tried. I think I'm maxed out at the pieces of information I look at. I think anything else at this point is going to get too much. Trading is a very much a present-minded thing. You're not locked into the present, what's happening right now, and if you're focusing on what should have happened or what did happen, it's gonna be tough, especially if you have an idea that's not happening. That's why I use like the combat analogy. Like, you're at war, your leg got shot off. You gotta still fight, you know? You can't completely die. And if you survive, you're doing better than most. Survive at all, you're doing better than most, and you'll be around long enough to catch easy markets and easy moves. Then when you catch an easy market, an easy move, a full uptrend with no punishment, take some money out and put it off to the side. Just to buffer yourself, make yourself feel better. Like hedging against yourself. Don't put all your money in one basket and trade with it. Just survive between the up-only markets should be like the motto. Have money to trade up only. Survive until up only. Do not risk your ability to take risks. Oh shit, the hourly closes in like 2 seconds. 2 minutes, I mean. Okay. I've got 2 more bullets in the gun. That'll give me my full size. I've already fired 7. I'm at 14x. Interesting close on the SPX contracts market. I don't know if this music is affecting my bias. It's making me nervous. Ship sounds like horrible ship. If I had a ship, it wouldn't sound like this. This is Fraguar talking, by the way. Sam is sleeping. I'm a cat, actually. Alright, that's a nice little burst up. Send it. Send it! Look at that, right off that little line, baby. Give me it. Just give me a big swing away. I want the shorts liquidated, bottom shorters punished. I want to see a fall off. There's been a lot of liquidations. For the downside. Oh, this is the Pirates of the Caribbean music. I just put it on. I didn't think to do it till today. I don't care. I'm feeling the music's affecting me. This is the music, not my trading. Alright. Interesting. I'm just gonna let this go for 1 second.
Cell 12.31.
Aru, how's your longs going? I remember you longed this. Or you're short this. If he's a bouncer, it's gonna fucking die. Surely this is the SFP, right? This is the one, not the other 10 I tried to buy on the way down. I want the open of this hour to be over. SFP is a swing fail pattern. So it's
Cell 10.3.
it is a higher wicks on the left and right, and a longer wick in the middle, and it's called SFP, a swing fail. Just generally means like the dump is over type thing. People, that's what they, it's obviously it's hard to predict. It prints after. Like the candle has to close for it to be a swing fail, but you can kind of try to like put it all together before everyone else. You see, I'm like a market maker. I just painted the chart. Just like a market maker. How they do it, they just draw and the price goes up and down. Master of puppets. But you want to put a swing fail pattern together with a nice bounce level or some other sort of confluence. Confluence as in, if you're like a new trader, a new streamer, confluence is a point in which many rivers meet, which means you have a lot of pieces of information coming together to one point to come to the same conclusion. So you can't just rely on a swing fail pattern. You can't just rely on a level. You want to put it all together. I'm gonna take a little off while I'm got a little bit of a bounce here. Oh, I keep drawing dots. Stop it. We're getting to the point where we need to like burst out of this area. Big green dildo. Right now. And no. And no. And wrong way. We're getting tore up here. The ship is sinking. Ship's underwater right now. 18 minutes until this SPX candle closes. Thinking we might see some good action around there, especially since SPX is at support. You guys see this? The SS Tealstreet. There's Vic in the crow's nest, Vic Ton. Sam steering the ship, I'm swapping the poop deck. Then Lat is the I don't know what you call this. The maiden on the front of the ship. And then there's Aruculas. He's the mermaid. See, he's got a seashell bra on. And there's Delphine the whale. He's getting out of his short right now, so the market's propped up. It's $3 billion short. Interesting. Very interesting. Little bounce on the SPX with 13 minutes to close on it. Song's giving me anxiety. I just want to front run. Strong SPX close. Stocks have been weighing down Bitcoin for a while now. If I go to the hourly on the SPX chart here, I'm hoping to front run a strong close of this candle because it's at support right now. I think a strong close in 11 minutes could kind of send it. We'll see. I saw Master and Commander, but like when I was a kid. I'll have to watch it again. Yeah, I wanted a couple, please. I'm tired of looking at stocks. Tired of looking at SPX. Alright, I've got to take off a little bit now. Minutos. Just scalping within this candle, risking on, risking off. Wax on, wax off. Andy, I think if 40k doesn't hold, I'm gonna start holding a bearish bias probably for the next, until like proven not. Look for a new bottom that's about 10% away from this one. I say this because if you go historically and you look back on a chart, usually a 10% swing away from a top. You can just go around and measure these things. Where here's the top at 45.2, down to the bottom at 40.30, 43.80, I mean. It's about like 10%, and usually that's the breaking point. I don't know if it has to do with leverage or market, just like psychology or something. But it seems either it will bounce at a 10% move or it'll go and really start getting nasty, like down to becoming a 20% down or more. So it's bounce or die in my opinion. But news invalidates everything. I will say this, that's a technical perspective. News and the stocks will invalidate everything. Go back to the Assassin's Creed soundtrack. I like the singing. Way up she rises, way up she rises early in the morning. What are stomps gonna do? That's been the motto for the last 3 months. What are stocks gonna do? Here I go again.
Cell 12.
Yeah, because this is getting long in the tooth in this area. I'm hoping this close in 1 minute will have some sort of reaction. Does he have a pirate hat on his avatar? Yeah. That's like a better hat. Sorry, that was not a good entry. Alright, SPX closed for the hour. This isn't your action. Getting like right now, I'm almost more unsure about being long than sure. And if we don't see a reaction now, I'm very, very unsure. I'm gonna start scaling out. Alright. SPX is near the prior candle's wick right now. This is where it's getting dicey. Breaking lower here is bad. Breaking up here is good for us. For me. What you're doing. Hopefully it's not what I'm doing. This is using the timeout feature. You can redeem your channel points to time somebody out for 5 minutes. This is gonna be a long half hour here. Ding on new emote. Let's just take a note here. You got your notebooks? I don't trade fractals, really. I only trade them maybe on extremely high time frames or in time periods extremely near, like within the last day or 2 days. Because I believe the market participants are changing so often that fractals are difficult to trade. Unless it's very close to now or very aggregated on a high time frame. But this and this look very similar. It looks like the end to a dump and then a pump up. So take it away you will. Just telling me be a little careful. Maybe I'll risk off a little bit. Again, though, this was not a level to bounce on. This was kind of air up here. Wow, there is a fairly sizable sell wall that just opened on Binance Spot. Right at 40.8. Sal, can I just gift you a sub already? Can you just turn that back on? It annoys me that you're not subbed. Oh, today's Friday. Today's Friday, right? Friday? Friday! My dad's coming over. And we're eating fish fry. I love fish fry. I'm not religious anymore, Catholic anymore, but I do love me a good Catholic fish fry. Oh, give me some of the cod. Give me some of the shrimp. I want the fries. I want the coleslaw. The grumpy. If you've ever been to a fish fry, like a church Catholic fish fry, oh my god, it is like, it is such an experience. Like, there's grumpy old ladies running it. Some are cheery. Some are just pissed to be there. They're selling desserts. I saw a lady last time. There's tons of grandmas like everywhere. I saw a grandma last time walking around, and there's like a dessert table, and she's putting her finger in the cake frosting. and taking it. She's like 90. Like these are like meant to be sold to people. She's like putting her finger in it, tasting it. Me and my sister are just like laughing. Oh my god, and they're like handling your money. They're all like just way too old. And they're like handling your money. They're not sure if they paid them. Like, it's so funny. It's like very endearing. Just it's interesting that it all just works together.
By 39.27. By 12. By 10.57.
Oh, we're green on the SPX hour. Okay. Good. What am I? I am 15x. Just gonna chill. I risked off a little bit down there. That's fine. We're being safe. We're being risk averse. You gotta constantly juggle when you're on high leverage. Might be chilling. Come on. We're at the wall. There's 100 left in the 235 wall. I'll put it on the screen. This is a free tool. It's called Bookmap. Well, it's not. Well, it's free for certain things, but all I use it for is free. And I was paying a ton of money for it and realized I was only using free features, so I canceled it. But this is the Binance spot market, and this is the order book, the heat map of the order book. And there's a this wall was originally 235, and now it's 97. SPX is continuing upward. Oh yeah, these little balls kind of show the volume delta, the difference in volume. So you can see there's so much more buy volume here. And it's like, I know it's great to see it, but it's because it's also implied, like, yeah, duh, there's buy volume. The candles are going up. More buy volume than sell volume means up, you know? But it kind of gives a good visual on fighting volume almost. Like, there's a lot of volume. The ball is bigger. A lot of fighting down here. Let's see if it might get eaten. See if it gets eaten. And then dump after. This is called Bookmap. Bookmap. All one word. And you set it up. And I like to use Binance Spot Market because it's the most liquid spot market. Therefore, it's a great place to look for a better picture of the market in entirety. And it's also the place where there's like the most manipulation because people look at it. Just a heat map for an order book. And I have the little alerts. When you hear the buy 10, buy 20, that's the book map sending me alerts of people market buying or selling. And you have to understand too, when somebody market buys 40 or 30 or something, that's like significant, right? That's a lot of size to throw around. And under most conditions, what these traders with large size and large amounts of money is, they're usually like T-wapping and V-wapping, which is large amounts of small orders, so you wouldn't hear these notifications normally because it's the most efficient way to buy for them, is to accumulate over a period of time with small orders. So when you hear a large one pop in, that's kind of like more of a like a panic thing or a message to send. Like a signal. Like you could imagine that if you were a whale communicating to another whale, how would you do it? Well, you could through the book, you could through painting the chart, you could through saying specific order numbers. You could think about this all day. You can go so deep into a rabbit hole of insanity about how whales could communicate through order flow. Alright. Wall's cooking, it's a tight wall. Oh, I'm not gonna add. Alright, we're getting eaten. They're firing the cannons, mateys. Arrgh. Take out the wall. Wall is taken out. I repeat, the wall is taken out. I gotta get back to the terminal. Yeah, I keep Bookmap open at all times. It's just... like I said, I don't use it for much. Really, because walls can be pulled and there can be fake. But I do feel like I get something out of it. Killer, all you come in here and say is that you're an island boy. I just see like every hour, I'm an island boy, and it gets stuck in my head. Hey, I'll play that on loop. Don't test me. We're gonna go from pirate boys to island boys real quick. Yeah, you don't want to, Luca. Don't want to hear it. It's so annoying. I think it's like... I'm sorry, I'm walking away from Mike. I think it's like cringe rap it's called. Or something. I think it's a real category of rap. It's called like cringe rap. The, that couple that hacked all that Bitcoin a long time ago, she was like a cringe rapper. It was like in the news recently. You can go on, this is kind of funny actually. When Island Boys were popular, you could go, well, you still could do it. You can go on, what is it called? It's a page for you to pay for somebody to do a soundbite for you, and they're on there. So they like would do a video for you for like $500 or $1,000 or something. And I wanted to do one for Sam, but I also wanted to like do it for Tealstreet, like an ad for Tealstreet. And there was two ways to pay for it. It was like $500 for an individual or like $2,000 for a business or something. So I tried to do one for Sam and sneak it in there for $500. Cameo, yeah, Cameo's the website. And they said it seemed too much like an ad for a business, and they rejected it. Well, now they probably need the money, I'm sure. I think saw an article about how they're broke or something. Or are you looking at any of these charts? Is your screen blank? I think Aru is just purposely fudding me. He's just fudding me. He knows what it's like to stream trading, so he just wants to make my experience miserable. Don't scare me too. I don't want to be scared with you. I'm already nervous. I'm already nervous enough all the time. I'm not telling you the brand either. That's what I meant. I knew you were asking about what type of phone. Maybe you already know my phone number. Now you're trying to figure out how to get into it. You're looking for vulnerabilities on my model number. I'm not falling for it. Nope. I've got tape over my webcam. I've got cut aux inputs on my mic ports when I'm not using them. Stonks. So this is Friday. And stonks. We're gonna close for the weekend. So what happens within the next 4 hours and 10 minutes? Gonna kind of paint a picture for Monday. Oh, I wasn't paying attention to the chat earlier. Did anybody say what happened with the nuclear power plant? No damage. The fire was extinguished. NATO said it was reckless and dangerous. 3 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and 2 wounded. That's good. That was really dumb. Stalling. Price is stalling. Let's see. Nominal volume changes on spot. Increase in spot CVD. Funding. Almost neutral. Like nothing to work with here. Stocks at support. Open interest rising. That's interesting then. So open interest is rising at this point. Open interest is the sum of all contracts in a market. So when it goes up, it means more people are opening positions. That means in order to open a position, you have to have a short and a long meet up and make a trade. And that increases open interest. So that means if open interest is going up, it's going up a little bit of a good tick. I'll open the chart. I don't know if you can hear that. My cat's like freaking out. You can see open interest on Coinalyze. Okay, we're gonna go to a similar chart. I'll put it on the hourly. Okay, so open interest means yes. The market doesn't matter. So the fact that this is BitMEX doesn't matter. You can hit the little gear and see all the markets that the open interest is calculated from. So a short and a long come together and they make a baby and they both have a position now, and that increases open interest in a futures contract market. So that's all it is. It's a short and a long. So what do you infer? Well, you can infer that if open interest went up here, here, and here in the last 3 hours and prices going down, down, and down, that people were shorting here. So we're at the bottom. And in order for a open interest to go up, a short and a long has to open. So somebody shorted this. People are shorting this heavily, as well as longing this heavily. So if it's a bottom, you should see this open interest close down as price goes up, because unless there's a ton of volume longing it, shorts will be getting liquidated, and they will also be forced out of their positions and manually closing. That's how short squeezes happen. Here you can see an example of a short squeeze. Open interest, people opening tons of positions as price is going up. And here at the point of the top, open interest takes a dump. Why? Tons of shorts liquidated. And it goes both ways. All open interest is a demonstration of how much fuel there is in the market right now. And it could explode either ways. And the farther away from a swing bottom or a swing top, the more a squeeze is, because you are affecting people who are on leverage. This is just a sign of how much leverage fuel is about to get fucked. So if you look at liquidation screener, this just gives this is not accurate by any means. This is an estimate, but it gives an estimate of who is getting fucked as far as leverage trades. So this green line here, the first one, here's the middle is the average, and this is 100x longs, 50x longs, 20x longs, 10x longs, where they would liquidate. So that's how you can see a short squeeze develop in both ways. So we're getting into a long squeeze right now. It would have to kind of develop upwards to start squeezing. Go to a lower time frame to see it. It would have to develop upwards to start squeezing the shorts out. That's why I was saying earlier, like 10% moves are like a breaking point. At least that's what I've noticed. I've never really heard anyone say that, so don't quote me as it being a total fact, but I've examined it as being like a breaking point of a bounce or a large continuation. So going to be from a 10% dip to a 20% dip. It's because the squeeze is getting so much more aggressive after that 10% breaking point. So we're at a breaking point right now, where either we bounce or we die, and that's it on a technical level. News invalidates all, but on a technical level it's like bounce or die right now. That's because we're 10% down into a dip, getting pretty dicey. It's just crazy, really. Like, if you remember it from the big bull runs we've had, it becomes nuclear. The further you get away from the bottom, it just starts cooking. And it's because it's forced selling, or forced buying from shorts being liquidated. And the same with down, forced selling from longs being liquidated, or being squeezed out of your position. Your losses are getting to be too big for you to handle. So manual exits, well, forced in all directions. They're all forced. Sometimes the exchange does it for you, or sometimes you have to do it so you don't lose your shirt. It's like it's so impossible. This is why bots are so hard to program. You can go back in hindsight and measure down 10% top to bottom moves and see how many times it successfully bounced and how many times it broke. And you got to give it a little leeway, like 11% is basically 10%, you know, 9% is basically 10%. And then if you count the amount of times it bounced versus the amount of times it continued down, I mean, it's probably 50-50, but it's just that it's a buy point, or it's like a point to buy or wait until a larger move away, basically. Like, you buy at 10% or you really wait. This is Bitcoin too. I'm sorry, I'm talking completely for Bitcoin. You can use Bitcoin as a point to also determine when other markets will bounce, because everything kind of follows it. But 10% is a Bitcoin thing. Alts usually move, and you saw that 15%. Alts usually move 50 to 100% further than Bitcoin. So like a 10% down bounce on Bitcoin, because it's the most liquid of the markets, is like a 15 to 20% bounce on an illiquid market, like an alt market that follows Bitcoin normally. That's why there's an argument. You could pose this argument, and Sam's brought this up and we've talked about this before, that alts, people like to trade alts because they move in high percentages. Well, okay, say an alt moves 20% up when Bitcoin moves 10% up. Well, Bitcoin's hard to predict, but alts are usually harder to predict. I mean, there's some people who are good at them, but Bitcoin has the most history, is the most predictable as far as how predictable you can get, you know? It's the easiest to trade as far as how easy this can get, and it's not easy. So instead of trading things that move 20% instead of 10%, why don't you just double the leverage on Bitcoin and trade something that's a little more liquid instead of something that's volatile, right? So instead of trading alts, you could also just up the leverage on Bitcoin. Get the same result. The $100 position moving 10% is a $10 profit, but a $200 position moving 10% is a $20 profit. So a $100 position moving 20% is also a $20 profit. So you just could up the leverage on Bitcoin. And I think trading is so hard. I think most people should just trade Bitcoin starting out, honestly, and I only trade Bitcoin now. I want to have a snapshot and really get to know a market. And if you're spreading it all over between all these other markets, you're spreading your experience, right? Let me explain that again in case I explained that poorly. A 10% move, if you... let me get the Excel document. Well, you're going to get liquidated at the same pace if a market's moving in larger swings. Like 20% is going to hit you harder than a 10% is, but it's equal if you balance out the leverage. Sheets.google. Okay, balance. $100. Bitcoin move. And 10%. Move. Leverage. 2. Altcoin move. 20%. 1x leverage, right? So if Bitcoin, so alts usually move more aggressively in Bitcoin. This is a fact. A 10% move on Bitcoin is usually a 10 to 20% move on an alt, usually. Not talking about ETH, I'm talking about everything else. So if you're aiming for these big percent moves, you could easily just double the leverage on Bitcoin. So position size 2 times the balance, $200. And this one is $100. So the position size times the move. Okay. So Bitcoin went up 10%, this altcoin went up 20%. You doubled the leverage on Bitcoin. You started with a $200 position, and altcoin you had a $100 position. In the end, you both had a $20 profit. And the same goes with down. This is your profit. So I'm not telling you what to do, but after a lot of pain of trying to swing alts and a lot of extra effort, I've learned to just up the leverage on Bitcoin instead of dabbling in everything else and getting hit by random, like, because there's things where it's like this altcoin, like the developer could rug it, there's a blockchain error, it could get hacked. There's all sorts of things that are so outside your control, and the market's so illiquid that it just affects it tremendously. And Bitcoin it's the most liquid, and I mean news affects it, but it's not going to be like barely anything that affects it. It's got to be something substantial, and you at least have such a long track record of how news affects things. Like you can just go back on the Bitcoin chart and see how much this COVID shutting down the airports affected it, and use that as a gauge. All right, so stocks are accelerating upwards, which is great. I am 15x. I'm just gonna chill. I don't want to get my head of myself here. Got a pretty decent entry if this plays out. My target is $1 billion. 1 billion. No, I'll scale off along the way. I'm trying to get mostly out before a top area, but I'm going to think about where other people might be selling and get ahead of them, and I scale out. So I've got a 64k position. And I can use risk profile, see what my total P&L will be at the end of this spread of orders. So I'm just gonna do 4,000. And we're gonna zoom out, and I'm gonna go a little slow to explain my madness here. Okay. There's a wick here. I'm gonna front run it and sell before it. When we go in reduce only mode. I'm gonna try to front run this wick. And try to front run, trying to figure out where other people's orders are, and I want to get ahead of it so I can get my sell in. I'm gonna front run this low here. By front run, I mean put my order ahead of where everyone else may have their orders. And I'm gonna front run this wick. I'm just kind of hedging myself to make sure I get out before other people do. Damn it! Damn it, Aru! Don't front run me. I'm front running. Now everyone's gonna front run me. Okay, so I'm front running this. Or front run this. I mean, there's things that'll change my mind. I'll get out of the position in entirety, but if I were to set up a exit strategy, okay. I'm going a little slow here. The risk profile is telling me from last price up until the last take profit, I'll still have a 40k size, so I'm gonna throw some 8k orders now. Definitely front run these wicks. One. Front run these guys. Front run this guy. I'm just looking for things people might want to sell at. I'm getting ahead of it. For like ideal circumstances. So this would be an ideal exit for me. I am getting out before major resistance at the top, and I am taking profits along the way. I'm paying myself. Risk profile is telling me from last price up what my realized profits are going to be. So I'm first going to realize a $6 profit, a 25, then a 57, then an 81, then a 107, then a 156, then a 356, etc., 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 all the way up. And on total, I will have a 3,200 profit total. It's a little higher if you go in static mode, which is based on your entry. So like in total, my balance will go up pretty significantly if this is if it swings away pretty good. Does that make sense? It's like spread betting. Like if you played roulette, there's strategies to play a certain amount of numbers with a certain amount of money that's efficient for your money. So it's like hedging your bets, they would say. Like I'm placing a lot of bets, and on average I should do fine. Like if I get up here and it dumps, on average I'll be doing much better because I'll be a quarter out of my position, and I'll have taken a third of my profits about, actually. At what point will I be sure it's a big bounce? You're never sure. I have in my mind on a higher time frame that this could be a large bounce, but there's a lot of news problems happening right now with Russia, and people are scared and unsure. So like anything could pop out and dump the market. But in a technical stance, I feel like this is a bouncing point because on my chart, this green line is a major weekly level, and we're down 10% already, and that's a typical bounce point. If we get up past daily open, I will be fairly confident that it will continue at least up to 44, below 45k. So I would feel more confident if we broke 42.9, because we kind of get past some of this mess, right? We retrace the dump, we would be above this dead cat bounce, and it would be fairly bullish. I mean, I don't know another way to put it. Right now there's still some unsurety, but stocks look great, and Bitcoin has been liking the stocks recently. It was like surreal. This war Okay, so I talked to Sam and Lat about this a bit, and this war is like, to me, is the most surreal war because when we were fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm like, this is just a fact. The people we were fighting didn't speak English. They didn't have access to the internet, most of them. They didn't go on social media. They were fairly like third world country type people, and the US Army can't also really tweet stuff. They don't go on social media and take videos of war too often, as far as I know. But now we're in a second world country war where people have access to the internet, they have access to social media, they speak English, they are able to tell the world and show everybody on TikTok and everything that, like, a tank going down the street, like a babushka stealing a tank or something. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, it's absolutely insane. It's like the most surreal. It doesn't even feel real to me. It's so stranger than fiction. It is stranger than fiction. Like, this is a very much on the grid fight in the age of the internet. Like, Iraq is off the grid, mostly. Afghanistan is mostly off the grid with the people we were fighting. And this fight is completely on the grid. And the whole world is, like, able to watch. And I have another strategy I'll explain, too. On top of the taking profit strategy. When I will drag my orders and take early profits. And I don't know why. I usually drag the closest one into the price. I don't drag a top one. Because I don't want to mess up the original trade idea. So if, like, I fill this one, I drag this and I fill it, I want the original trade idea to be intact up here. Same with buying. Like, if I'm buying, I will drag the closer one to the bid and not my farther away bid, because I don't want to fill. Like, if I did, let's see, I don't know if I even have enough margin to open another buy order. Oh, it's on reduce only. Like, if I would drag this one instead of this one, because I don't want to fill the closer one. I want to fill this one right now and then still let it go far away to my other bid. The sad thing about a nuke is, like, what can you fucking do? Like, can they take out a nuke in the air? Is it a bomb now? Are they missiles? I don't... Like, I mean, in a sense of what can you do is it's like, when it happens, there's no going back, usually. Alright, I'm going to what I just said and take off some. No, change my mind. Well, it's fine. It doesn't make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, can you take it out in the air without detonating it? Because then that's, like, I'm pretty sure that's a specific type of nuclear bomb, too, is it detonates in the air to just, like, give radiation to the area. Like fallout. Yeah, Peter, treat yourself. Buy a Porsche, Peter. You deserve it. I want a Porsche, too. I'm gonna have to pay tax money, though, this year. I'm not comfortable with checking how much that is. I think it might be in the range of about $40,000 I'm gonna have to pay extra. Because fortunately and unfortunately, I did very well last year trading, and then I made a lot of losses at the beginning of this year. So I haven't been spending anything until like I have to figure out how much this is. I'm gonna try to write off a lot of stuff because, like, this is technically how I feed myself right now as a self-employed person. I can write off the whole computer. Make sure I do that. Desk. Oh, SPX is cooking a bit. My size in Bitcoin. It is 1.5 Bitcoin size. So I'm exposed to the percent moves of Bitcoin 1.5 times. Moves up 100, it affects me 150. Thing with down. Not a huge balance. That's a big move in balance margin. Alright, I have to go set the phone trading. I'll be right back. I think market makers probably want to wait until stocks close before doing anything crazy. And we've got 3 more hours. Just not worth it. It's so correlated. Yeah, it's gonna close for the weekend, so hope if the stocks close and it's above this area when it happens, I would hope for a bullish weekend then.